Hello house lovers, guess what? Another glorious autumn day in Melbourne. I know, it's dull and boring. Come and see what I've been up to. I've had a smashing time and discovered a long-lost silent movie heroine. Come and see. I have been having a go, as they say in Aussie parlance, at the smallest room in the house, which sits at the top of the stairs. I know, it's looking like Beirut in the 80s, but it's been very satisfying. Here's what I did. House lovers, let's talk about the smallest room in the house. And it's at the top of the stairs, which are right here. I look like a flight attendant. Often in Victorian houses, this small room here at the top of the stairs was a child's bedroom. And do you remember, I know you do because you hang on my every word, a child was born here on the 13th of July 1874. This was more than likely the child's bedroom. However, it's undergone a little bit of a metamorphosis since 1874. Let's have a look. On the outside, you can see these are the original mouldings, the architraves of the door, and the original door. But at some point, the room was partitioned across the back here to create here the most glamorous of en-suites. Guess what I'm going to be ripping out today? Hopefully the shower and that loo that's lurking behind there. So originally the room would have gone all the way through and the window that is on the exterior facade would have been the window for this little room. Let's have a look. This is the former kitchen of the former presidential suite, and this is the window that would have been for the small room, and this is the other side of that partition wall. And what I'm engaged in today is the removal of this partition. I'm not sure if it's clear, but here in the presidential suite, this wall that juts out into the space is a new stud wall. And this was built because the original wall, which is this one, was taken out so that that little bathroom and the presidential kitchen could be wider. And what I discovered is that basically this is just stud construction. It's just old plasterboard and timber. Not structural, it's not load bearing, so I can take it out. That's my task I'm engaged upon. Wish me luck. How did I go about my wonderful demolition job? Pretty much the same as the other room. You gotta find your way in. So this is what I did first of all. I discovered that this wall was better made, which meant it was a little tougher to take apart. The plasterboard wasn't gyprock, it was old school plasterboard, meshed together with a synthetic horsehair-like fibre. It would have been horsehair back in the day. It's not asbestos fibre, fear not. And then the timber struts were made with proper joinery. So there's proper joints in those struts, which meant they were harder to pull out. But the great thing is to discover that the timber is so beautiful. And I kind of get the feeling now that the house is starting to breathe again. We've started to remove a lot of the additions that have happened over the last century, and we're stripping the house back to its original form. I don't know, and the vibe's just getting better. Maybe that's just me being oversensitive. House lovers are lull, but look, you can see daylight. That is the presidential suite, and this is the ensuite bathroom that is no more. And here you can see the original wall that's travelled along that divided this child's bedroom from the presidential suite next door. But now, I also finished pulling up the lino in the presidential suite before I did the demolition work. And underneath that old 1920s lino, I found the most wonderful newspapers. Here they are. And so, read all about it. Here are some of the newspapers that I found underneath the lino. This one is April the 22nd, 1925. Here is an ad for an influenza pill. Don't be scared, be prepared by taking Hinzo for influenza, coughs and colds. Flu epidemic predicted. How apt is it? And if this is 1925, the Spanish flu pandemic was 1918, 1919, only 6 years prior. So still very much in people's minds and so relevant for today. 1925 men's coat fashions, and my goodness, I would be so happy to have any of those coats. Isn't it funny? They're so timeless. And interesting, given Australia's sporting history, there's a lot of commentary about women's sports. This is 1925, and this is a women's rowing team. And this is also 1925, and this is a piece about women golfers. So, 1925, Australian women got the vote in 1902 federally. There was a few states that did so before. Not Indigenous women. That was not until the 60s, which is one of the great crimes and tragedies of Australia's history. That's another story. 1925, and the Queen was born in 1926, so a year after this newspaper, to give you some context. Now, the most fabulous thing is that a lot of entertainment pages under the newspaper, and look at this, a full page ad for a Pauline Fredericks film called Smouldering Fires, which looks terrible. But anyway, I thought, who's Pauline Frederick? I have never heard of her. Turns out that she was quite interesting and one of those forgotten silent movie stars. She was hugely famous in her day, was a theatre actress who made her name really in silent movies in her 30s. I googled her and found out that she actually died of an asthma attack when she was 55. She had 5 husbands, so she had fun before the asthma attack. But here's something else curious about Pauline Frederick. So that ad was April the 20th, 1925, and this is April the 16th, 1925. There we have Pauline Frederick in Spring Cleaning at the Theatre Royal. A play, not a movie. And I thought, having read that, I just assumed she was Australian. Australia had a huge silent movie industry prior to talkies, when of course everyone could only accept American accents. But again, great God, Google did reveal that Pauline Fredericks toured Australia throughout her career. Forgotten Pauline, forgotten no more. Here's where I'm up to. I've taken off probably, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the plasterboard and revealed the superstructure. What I've discovered is that this is much better made than the stud wall that was next door in the ensuite there. This is probably from the 1960s when this wall was demolished and this room was made smaller and that was made bigger. And this timber, let me show you a piece. This timber, which is the stuff that's used to make the struts, is the most beautiful eucalypt hardwood. It's the kind of stuff that you would not find these days. So all the studs of the other wall were made of pine, which is pretty typical these days, but this stuff is fabulous. The good doctor had an idea. His thought is that we should get our cabinet maker to use this timber, and there is large bits, to make all our joinery structure in the house, perhaps in the kitchen, perhaps in the dressing room. What a great idea. And in fact, some of it, once it's thicknessed, might actually have beautiful grain and colour. It could even be paneling on door fronts, etc., because it's going to be beautiful. And I know you're asking, did I find any treasure? Let's define treasure. Let me show you. Not 1, but 2 imperial leather wrappers. How did they manage to get underneath the shower basin? Remember that ad in the 70s for imperial leather? Tahiti sounds nice, Simon. Second treasure find. Not 1, not 2, but 3 rather disturbing toothbrushes. Again, found underneath the shower basin, which was really built in. Last find is that all the pipework in the house, all the older pipework, is copper. That is a recycled metal. Copper is highly desired. So this is not going in the recycling bin. It's going to go to the scrapyard. There is a ton of piping in there, which I've yet to pull out with my bare hands. There we are, house lovers. Hopefully by next week I will have made a little more progress. I have got another lavatory to save. There's another lavatory to save. Anyway, I'm picking my way through the rubble. Next week, perhaps, I will have news of having gotten rid of the shower basin base and the large chunks of carpet like this. I managed to get rid of a couple this week, and I'm pretty hopeful that I can get rid of some more. Watch that space. There we are. Over and out from gloriously autumnal Melbourne. Take care. I hope the week will prove to be glorious and delicious for you. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for enjoying, I'm assuming you are enjoying, my endless videos about our humble house renovation. I've got a lot to do this week, but you only have to take care in this COVID mad world. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great week. And think of me trying to remove that base and pedestal in one piece.